Hi, my name is Tracy Lynn, and welcome to Hold the Granola, a no bullshit pod about yoga, fitness, and dance that features students, teachers, and movers making their way in these problematic industries. On this episode, we will unpack the hefty topic of breaking the belly dance mold with a very special guest all the way from Dublin, Ireland, Stacey McPartlin. Multi-award-winning fusion dancer, instructor, performer, and choreographer, Stacey has been studying and performing internationally for the past 11 years and has trained with belly dance superstars around the globe. Stacey is the first and only Datura Style Bellydance instructor in Ireland and holds qualifications in fusion belly dance, Pilates, and fitness. In addition, Stacey is also a Majorette, a fire performer, actor, contemporary dancer, and member of award-winning burlesque troupe La Folie Deshabille. She is also the director of Polaris Fusion Dance Company and a member of international touring trio Dubrikato. My friends, I am so excited for this episode. Strap on, grab a cup of tea. Wait, did I just say strap on? I'll just leave it. Grab some whiskey. All right, see you on the other side. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Thank you. Thank you again for coming on Hold the Granola, a podcast that is no bullshit. I want to keep it that way. And I thought, what better person to keep it no bullshit than Stacey McPartlin, all the way from Ireland?
Hey. Oh, and there will be no bullshit here. Oh, dear God, no.
So I know that you are from Dublin, Ireland, but where are you at now?
I am in the remotest part of Ireland, place with the most COVID cases. Yay! Place called
Yay!
and it's this tiny little town, just very, very north. It's almost at the border of Northern Ireland and Southern Ireland. So right there, and I'm in my house surrounded by cows and sheep, living in the middle of a farm. So living the dream.
That literally sounds like my dream, as a matter of fact.
It's really lovely. It's super peaceful and super quiet and really, really nice and stuff. Like I'm from Dublin originally, and I lived in a few different places around Dublin, but we were having a conversation of this slightly off air. We were talking about the house prices in Dublin, and Dublin is incredibly expensive and really ridiculous, getting to that San Francisco crazy bubble stage. So we made the decision to move out here, and so much better off for it. It's been really, really nice. Yeah, really good. And just the piece, like we have a lot more space because you get more space when you move outside of the city. But it's enabled us to be able to like do things like with the COVID, our lockdown, we can't leave our house and stuff. So I've been able to set up a studio and teach online and still be connected with my dancers, which has been like incredible, because if this was Dublin, all of my studio space would be gone. I would have no space to teach in my apartment back there. So it's a weird kind of good timing kind of to move out to the countryside. So
No
yeah,
mistakes. And
no.
even that, like digitally, you're able to teach so many more people outside of Ireland, all over. People can tune in. So that's good to remember. I need to tune into your class and come on in.
Everyone is welcome. Like at the moment, I've been kind of teaching the dancers that I've had for like just the dancers that I've had in Ireland for the last while. Here it's been quite difficult, and as it has been in the US, a lot of people have lost their jobs. It's been quite hard financially on people. So the class I'm teaching kind of classes just for the students that I've had for the moment. I'm teaching them for free. So I teach them 3 days a week, just to give them something to kind of, to have and to be able to practice. And then I have a kind of a public class that I do once a week, which is a big choreography class. I had my touring solo for 2020, which I was supposed to put out into the world, obviously, and then couldn't. So I was like, okay, someone else is going to get use out of this. So I'm teaching that at the moment. So I'm in a very fortunate position that I can teach for free for dancers. So I'm trying to do that as much as I can, because I know how extremely difficult it is for everyone right now. So hopefully that can continue even after COVID. So it'd be nice. And that like it's really, really nice to be able to dance with people from all over the world, and reach in and talk to people and see how they're getting on, because it's difficult for everyone. It's really, really hard right now. And having dance and being able to have that kind of, even just logging on and seeing another person's face, for a lot of us is, you know, it can just really, really help sometimes with your day. And it's something that, you know, even if you're just sitting in and you don't even have to dance, you can just sit in and listen to the people chatting and saying hi to each other. It's always really lovely. And I have some dancers who, you know, they may be going through something right now, or they may just not feel like they want to dance, but they log in just to sit there because they haven't met their friends in months. So it's really nice for that. You know, it's something that it's still really fun, and I need that for myself as well. I think I feel like I'm super introvert at heart, but
you an introvert?
oh no, completely. Like I'm like probably one of those introverted extrovert. I think RuPaul said that before. Introverted extrovert, where I love being on stage, but I'm like, yeah, look at me on stage. I'm a fucking beaut. And then as soon as I come off the stage, I'm like, get me out of here. What did I just do? What the fuck am I doing? Get me the fuck off, because Jesus Christ. And I get this real panic after I come off stage. I'm like, oh my God, get me out, get me out, get me out. And I have like Ross, like my God, like God love him, has had to like drag me out of places before, which I get really panicky after I've been on stage, because I'm like, it's that real separation of being like my performance character of Stacey McPartlin versus the Stacey McPartlin who's riddled with anxiety and can barely string together. So it's just really, it's gas. So for me, even having that class where I get to talk to people, it forces me to come out of my very, very much my interior, because I would stay there all the time. And if I didn't have dance, and if I didn't get like kind of pushed into dance or any creative outlet, I would never come out of myself, and I would never come out of my shell, and no one would know. Like no one would know. My husband wouldn't know who I am, or and not like know who I am as in a popular way, but no one would know who I am in general.
Yeah.
You know.
And the type of projection you have to have online is so different from in person. Like, to be able to command online is a unique skill that some of us have had to develop during this time. Because it's weird for some people when they're just talking to a screen of boxes versus talking to a space full of people. And so, yeah, to make people feel at home, I mean, it's taken a lot of practice. So it's good to hear that you're able to still connect with your community and create a safe space for your dancers and for unfamiliar dancers to come in and feel at home too.
Yeah, it's something that it as you said, it's a lot, it's hard. It was hard to create and hard to do to pull yourself out of that, especially when you're like, I've got my dance friends, like one of my dance partners, Charlotte Wassell, can walk into a room and command a room and talk to anyone and everyone. And like, same as I said with my husband Ross, and so like a lot of my friends can just go in there and have that, like can walk up to anyone and have a conversation. And I envy that so freaking much. And I try to do it as much as I can behind my screen and behind in social media, trying to put out that person that should be able to talk to people and do it. And then when people meet me, I'm like, I'm afraid to talk to them. Which is so stupid. Like, it's so stupid. Like, I've been in rooms with people that I know from online, and they'd be like, hi, and I'd be like, hey. And we'd have full-blown conversations online, but to be in a room with them, I'd be like, and it's not that I don't want to, it's just the fucking fear of God in me that I'm like, I have to talk
What are
to
you
someone.
Scared of, Stacey?
And I wanted to be completely honest with you, because before we started this podcast over the weekend, and then we had a conversation before, I was about to cancel several times because I was so anxious about talking, so freaking anxious. And we had a conversation and it was lovely, but the fear, and again, it's that same thing, that the imposter syndrome, like, why would you want to talk to me about dance? Why? And even when you messaged me, I was like, I have no idea what I can contribute to this. Like, which is, you know, it's gas. So I had like my husband talk me off a ledge, because I was like, I'll just cancel and go. Like, there's plenty of other people she can talk to that, you know, are so much better than at this. So it's just, yeah, I just had to be honest with you, because it was in my head, and it was like, I could not sleep last night because I was so worried about it. Isn't that so insane? Like, isn't that insane what like anxiety can do to you? And, you know, Oh, I can only imagine what like even for, like, when I was talking about the classes that I've been running at the moment, like I know some of my dancers who really suffer with that. So for them to come onto a Zoom class where, you know, they can see other people and other people can see them, it's like, you know, to me that's huge. And to adapt this really weirdly changing online world is you know, it's difficult for everyone. It's not an easy feat. So, yeah, so we all have to work through it.
Yeah, maybe in that way, not to look at COVID as a blessing, but simply, you know, the type of environment that it's created for us, where we're having to be really an examination of like what we're bringing to the table, what is not necessary for us anymore. For me, it's really trimmed the fat in a way of like, I was really doing a little bit too much. Like I really needed to restructure my life personally. And it seems like when you moved out into the country, it was perfect timing. The stage was literally set for you to step into this new role and then with this new stuff with dance. So I would love to dive into that dance part because that's our whole purpose for this conversation. And you are very worthy of this time. I see you. And this is, I think, a problem that happens now is like we base everything on how many followers somebody has, or they're like, I'm just going based off of like what I see. And what I see in you is a very powerful performer that has adapted to these new circumstances. And your latest piece that you did, the like Lost Boys Halloween, I was just like, holy fuck. Like, like I can't, I felt like I was inside of a hall watching you in person. Like I had chills. Like
Oh,
it was this, I'm just going to butter your biscuits because it was amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And again, the same thing is I just did not want to put that out at all. And my friend Willow from Toronto got in touch with me. I hadn't danced. I again had only done classes, but only for my interior, like for my group of dancers who I know, because of the fear of putting something out there like to the wider community, even though I have this incredible access to these amazing people from all over the world and get to train with people. I was so afraid of putting that out. And then she came on and said, okay, we have this show. It's a Halloween style show. You have to do an act. I was like, okay. And she gave me a list of movies. And the first one that was there was The Lost Boys. And I was like, that's my movie. That's what I grew up with. I fucking love that film. I watched that when I was way too young and it freaked me out and I love it. So like when we were creating that again, we had like I had these incredible, like crazy ass concepts because my mind works like way more than like my actual like skill level is. So I'm like, I want this and I want things moving and I want shit in the background and I want this. And then I was like, no, you're lucky if you get a backdrop. That's about it. So like we spent a bit of time looking at like, you know, looking at the movie again and looking at things like the color of the movie and when things shift and change. Because that to me is really important because like yourself, if you know the movie, you'll know like when the vampires come out, everything goes red. And, you know, there's a lot of kind of references to things going red as they come in and it gets bloodier and bloodier as they become more vampire-y. So I was like, I have to bring that in every stage of the thing as it goes. And one of the things I'm known for in my performance is my face. I emote a lot through my face and through my dance. So I really wanted, I was like, how can I capture that? And how can I feed off an audience that's not there? And I know yourself when you go out and there's an audience there and they feed you and they help you kind of pull more and more out of you. And I find that with performance, if there's an audience member there and they're like either super entranced by what I'm doing or super freaked out, I'm like, game on, here we go, bitch. You're now mine. And I'm like straight into them.
We call them fear boners. That's what we like.
Okay, that's stolen. I love that, fear boner, but that's exactly what it is. It's that kind of, I'm so intimidated, I can't look away, but I really want to look away. And then even if they do, you're still like, oh, hey, I'm still here. And I love that. Like, but again, when we had no one there, like I was literally dancing and trying to be all, I think, and looking over at my husband who's like this. Writing down notes, and my cats who are yawning in the corner, not giving a fuck. They're just like, whatever, like they're just so used to me just being weird. So then it was difficult, and I found it really hard. And then when we got to kind of play around with it, then we got the main parts, and I was like, okay, I want to go outside. We have this cool little mound outside our house. And I was like, I want to light that up, and I want to be that part where they are at the beach and they kill everyone and they come back up and it's backlit and it's cool. So that's what I wanted to create in Cavan in rural Ireland, where everyone is super religious and super Catholic. And there I am going out in like bondage gear, my fucking red sparkly costume, and Ross has this all set out, and I'm literally backing onto a farm, as in the cows are right there. And again, a very religious household, very religious. Like when we, as a side note, just to kind of how religious, when Ireland was going through the referendum for abortion, to basically repeal the eighth, which was abortion is not allowed under any circumstances. We were over in their house just before the repeal happened, and they were like, so what do you think about these baby murderers? And we were like, oh Jesus, oh okay, yeah, we have it's like, how do you have, and they're really old school people, Catholic. I was like, oh, how are we going to have this conversation? So anyway, but that's just giving you an example of the type that you're dealing with.
I just want to know, how thick are their accents?
Oh, real thick. How's it going by? You're going down the cabin, you're going to the legs, like that's thick.
You're like, sir, I can't understand you.
Amazing. It's so good. It's like Ireland is like the tiniest nation. There's like the whole population of London, like, is the whole of the country of Ireland, and we have wild accents. Like you go from either, like there's a river in Dublin called the Liffey, one top at the bottom of it, which is like across a river. The accents are wildly different. And then the whole of the island is bananas, like bananas. You can't understand half them.
Did I tell you about the man on the bus I met in Dingle?
No. Tell me, Dingle is another accent.
Stacey, I had a conversation with this man for 30 minutes about what I can't tell you.
He probably talked at you, which is a real big Irish trait.
I think he talked at me, and I was like, yeah, I could have been agreeing to baby murder myself.
Yeah, possibly. He probably again, it's one thing that I do find quite endearing about a lot of the older Irish people. They will talk to anyone and everyone. Like, you're never alone if you walk into a bar and there's an Irish person. They'll sit there and chat, and they'll ask you about your family and who does what and where are you from and what are you doing, and that's great. And they will never shit on what you do to your face, because they're not like, they just can't cope. They'll be like, oh, that's lovely. What do you do for a living? Oh, I take all my clothes off in front of people and I rub myself all over. Oh, that's lovely. They can't cope. They're not bad, and they can't cope with, like, you know, saying that's like, you know, they know inside, and their little Catholic hearts are like, oh, she's the devil, but have to be polite.
Gotta be polite to the devil.
The devil, like, especially, like, yeah. So they're gas, like, but I'm not surprised with that at all. I'm pretty sure when you were in Ireland, like, you had many a conversation like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So before we got ready for this conversation, I told you a little secret that
yes, you did. Such a good story. Oh my God.
So the reason why I was in Ireland is because my sister was a part of this thing called the Rosa Tralee, which is like the equivalent of the Miss America pageant.
Yes.
But in Ireland.
Yeah. And really, I don't know if your listeners know the TV show Father Ted. There's a skit in Father Ted called the Lovely Girls competition, and it's like, aren't they lovely girls? Don't they have lovely bottoms? And they have, like, parts of the competition is the best laugh, and they're like, ha 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 ha, and it's like, who makes the better sandwich for their husband? And it's like that. It is that, like, that skit is literally what the Rosa Tralee is like. Now, it has got better, but and you're, as you're saying, like, one of the things, like, you have, because you can't go there without having a man, and the man is called your escort. You have an escort, which you say that anywhere around the world, it's a bit like, okay, you have an escort, that's lovely. okay, I didn't know this was this kind of town. But yeah,
Wow.
the Rose of Tralee, it's a huge thing in Ireland. And yeah, you have to tell the rest of that story. It's just spectacular. I nearly died.
Yeah. I was so young. Oh my God. I was a teenager. I was so troubled, but I had a blast out there. I've never eaten so many potatoes in my life.
Yep, Ireland, land of the potatoes. Make potatoes and everything.
Bangers and mash.
Oh yeah. Yeah, codle soup, stew, Guinness bread. Oh, you have to have it all. Like everything, if you think about it, our like winters, while we're not like Minnesota level of cold, we do have cold winters. So everything is like pack in as many carbs as you can because you know, it's going to be a cold winter. So to be fair, I love that. I'm not going to lie.
I'm for it.
Yeah, I'm all over it. Fried potatoes, chips. Like every meal has to have 2 or 3 different types of potatoes, and I'm all over that. And I love that stereotype of the big Irish potato head patty. I'm like, yes. You want chips with that? Yes, I fucking do. I'm Irish.
Yes, please. God, I love it.
I know. I'm just freaking, you know, standing up to the stereotypes. That's exactly who we are. It's not a lie.
Like my face hurts from smiling right now because this conversation's making me so happy. Oh my God. But we were,
Oh, so I'll get back to that crazy. So we went outside.
yes, take me back to the cow farm.
Yeah, we had it all set up. So I was like, Ross, I need to do this in like one take. It's cold. I'm in it. I'm really obvious because like there's a road that kind of runs down and you can see me on the hill. So people who are driving are like, what the fuck is that? Like, because I'm covered in red light and white light and really obviously like fucking human sacrifice in the middle of this Catholic like county. So I was like, real quick, we need to do this. Let's go out. So we went out and we started filming. I could hear like rustling in the bushes. I was like, there's someone there watching, isn't there? There's like someone from next door looking in and going, she's clearly like a Satanist and like, you know, he's not wrong. He's clearly like, you know, wrecking the place. So then I was trying to be like super kind of like, yes, okay, we're doing this for a show. It's a show. It's not a normal Saturday night. Though it kind of is. It's not a normal Saturday night. You know, so I was like, okay, we've got to do the blood take real quick. So I just tubed loads of blood and just spat it out everywhere. I was like, please God, just don't come around the corner. Please don't come around the corner. Cause like, and the song, obviously, like it was Cry Little Sister, but it's the Marilyn Manson version. So there's a part where it says like, thou shalt not, blah, blah, blah. And or it's a real like, you know, Jesus verse. So
Jesus verse.
yeah. So covered in blood, rubbing myself. And then Ross was like, yeah, we got it. And I was like, right, grab my clothes, just booted back inside for dear love. I was like, we're going to come around and there's going to be pitchforks and everything at the door. They're going to be like up in arms because, you know, we're the, like that creepy old McDermott house and we're all the fucking weirdos up there. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm known around the town as that like Satanist. And it's probably why people just like avoid me in shopping centers. It's not COVID. It's because they think I'm a Satanist and I'm okay with that. I don't want their stinky Catholic hats over me.
I would magnetize towards you. I'd be like, who are you?
I know, yeah. Well, I'd like to think that, but then, yeah, people are real freaked out by that here. You know, it's that same old thing. Sometimes, like, you know, like myself and Ross look like really unusual. We wear black all the time and we have things and we have tattoos and it's still like, you know, in Dublin, you wouldn't be looked at twice because Dublin is obviously like quite a big city, whereas here, still in rural Ireland, and it's still, like my friends have asked me, am I going to teach belly dance classes down here? And while I would love to, there's still a big kind of like, I need to educate people more here about what belly dance is. And for them, it's still very much tied to, you know, being a stripper or being a sex worker. And while they're two absolutely viable careers, and I'm super like, I'd be super sex positive and super positive towards those industries, they still believe that all of that is all jumbled up into one. Same with burlesque, same with anything where the body is like slightly sexual, you know, they still see that as being wrong.
Right.
It's not. And it's, you know, you're still dealing with older mindsets, older generations who still believe that. So there's a bit of an educational piece I need to do before I start teaching down here, and kind of bringing people into it, because I think if you bring people into it in the right way, they understand it, and to do it like in a respectful way in terms of like what the dance is, you know, how it's supposed to look, the different variations and different representations of it. I think done in a correct way, you can start to change minds. It's just, if I went down to dance at Cry Little Sister at like a county fair, I think I'd lose their mind.
Oh my God. You know what it would be like? Do you remember that movie? I don't know. I don't know if Irish people are into American movies or whatever, but there's this movie called Tu Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar.
That is my favorite movie. Are you kidding me? Oh, the tired little lamb boy puts on a dress. He's simply a boy in a dress.
He is a boy in a dress. But that's what you would literally do. You would be the car full of drag queens arriving at the city out in the middle of nowhere and turning the city around and making it more joyful. So maybe that's what'll happen.
Oh my God, that is my dream. Yes, I might have to do that. I have to get a convertible and 3 other belly dancers and just run amok in the town.
Yeah.
A la Tu Wong Fu. Yeah.
They'll be like, I feel Satan. It's filling me now. I gotta dance. But your original basis isn't in belly dance. You have traditional training too. And I would love to hear about that, because I thought that was really interesting, of like, because most people have their backgrounds in ballet or jazz or contemporary, but in Ireland, it's a standard to learn Irish dance first. Yes. I believe you told me that. I would love to hear about that.
So it's Irish dance, obviously, because it's our national dance. Everyone gets put into it, regardless if you want to do it or not, regardless if you have, like, if your feet can move or not, everyone is in it. And it's an interesting dance to learn. It's very difficult to do, and especially when you're a kid and you have so much energy and you're like, yeah, I want to dance and run around, to be like, okay, arms by the side, and you're only allowed to move your feet, and this is ingrained in. Like, kids are just wildly flailing, and I've seen people like where they tie the rope, like a rope kind of around the arms.
I was just gonna ask. I'm like, I bet there was some bondage going on in that class.
Yeah, that's where you're just like, ooh, oh, I like.
And that's when kink was born.
Yeah, this is my discovery time. Yeah, pain in the feet and being tied down. I'm like, yes, this is great. But yeah,
enjoying this.
Give me the vapors. But it would actually, like, some of the teachers would actually bring the arms in, and actually they're not like tie it down, but they would tie your arms down, because if your arms flail too much, like if you went into competitions or fesh, that you would like get points deducted if your arms moved too much, or if your hands weren't in the right position, or like if you're like, you know, your legs or whatever. There was like so many things. So I stayed in that for a little while, but not as like my family has a big kind of tradition with it. My auntie Philip, my gay uncle Philip, he was a massive Irish dancer. My gay auntie Philip, he was a huge Irish dancer and danced in river dance and won tons of awards, and you know, he was incredible at it. So I think they thought that I would go in that kind of way, you know, as a lot of my other family would have and had before. But for me, it wasn't. I was like, I love this, but it's not great. However, I did find, which is again really odd because I find this very American, but majorettes, baton twirling and cheerleading. So I know, isn't it crazy? Isn't it wild? Like, absolutely wild. So our neighbors from my nana, across the road from my nana's house, they ran a school called the Cunningham School of Majorettes. And like that, as well as I, just like Irish dancing, you were put into majorettes as well. It was a huge thing in Ireland in the 80s to do majorettes, and I trained in that for years, and then became a teacher and got my training certificates and stuff, and then actually taught little kids majorettes for years until I was like, I think it was like 19 before I finished. And it was so cool, but it was all pom-poms and cheerleaders and like, you know, all this little crazy stuff. And it was like, it's very Americanized though. You know, it's very Americanized. Like, why, where did we even find this in Ireland? How did this come over? Who brought this? You know, but it's that same thing. Like Michael Flatley took Irish dancing and made river dance out of it and made it like massive on the world stage. So yeah, it was crazy. But that was kind of, I did a little bit of Irish dancing, but then when majorettes became like the major thing in my life, and I still do it. I still have my baton, and I'm planning a belly dance majorette act.
I was like, you better.
Yeah. I love, like, it's, you know, some of those things you just never kind of fall out of, like you adding all the things and all of your experiences, and you just kind of mash them together and be like, I'm gonna make this dance today. So whether I come out with some Irish step dance soon enough in a thing, we never know. But you know, lately tribal arms don't really work with, like, you know, it could be like here, but
yeah,
nothing.
just this.
Yeah, just this. Yeah.
Well, I bet you could do some like, because people that know majorettes or know those things. I know a couple people that went down the Burning Man path and became kick-ass fire spinners. So I don't know.
Yes, exactly. That's one of the things I was looking at. I was like, if I can get a baton that's weighted the same way, like the same way the steel ones are weighted, it's like, oh, I'd be a fucking, you know, you always assume that you're going to be amazing at something because you can do something slightly like it. So I'm like, I'll be amazing at that. Cut to like a couple of months later and I have like half my hair gone because I burned it off.
That's how you learn. And then when did belly dance come into the picture?
So belly dance I met a woman in a recruitment agency that I was working in at the time. And she joined, I've been there for like a couple of years, and she joined and was just chatting away to her one night. And she's like, yeah, I belly dance. I was like, okay, cool. Show me what your belly dance is. And she showed me her video. And her video, I was like, that doesn't look like belly dance to me. It was tribal fusion at the time. And I was like, oh my God, hold on. You have tattoos and piercings and you can belly dance and you're not wearing standard belly, like what I would at the time have considered belly dance costume, or looked like what I would consider a belly dancer.
The like cabaret style?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And because that's all I had known of belly dance at that stage, was that's what it looked like. And then I saw her, she sent me her video and I was like, oh, okay, I need to, this, you know, this is awakening something. What is this? And then she gave me Rachel Bryce's very first DVD. And at the time I was in a really, really terrible relationship. I was stuck somewhere I couldn't get out of. I was really in a really, really terrible place. And I remember getting the DVD and coming home. The person I was with at the time was out, possibly cheating on me, because that's what he did all the time. And I brought back my DVD and I remember putting on the Rachel Bryce one, and I jumped to the performance at the end. And I sat on the bed and sobbed my eyes out crying from start to finish, because I could not believe what I was looking at. I was just watching a woman who just, everything about it, the whole setting, how she looked, how she moved, the strength in her. And I was just like so overwhelmed by that I freaked the fuck out. Like I quite literally lost it. I sobbed for fucking days. And then I kept watching the video on how she looked and how she moved and what she did, because I was like, I want to be her, because I could see how strong she was and how that performance, like she was fucking badass. And I was like, I need to do that. So I started like making her costume, like quite literally trying to replicate everything, how she wore her sports bra, how she wore pants, the belt, the coinet yarn that I had to fucking find for ages on the internet. I wanted that so much because I loved the dance, I loved what I saw, but I loved how strong she was. And I was like, I am not that. If I emulate you, I could be that, you know, as usual when we all start out. So the lady who I worked with, it's a lady called Roisin Corrigan, and she's from a troupe called Apollonia. Originally, she was in a troupe called the Orchids. And they start doing classes. Her and her dance partner, Mags McGarity, they start doing classes, and I went. And in the first, it was like a 10-week course. And I stood up the front every fucking time. I wore my belt thinking I was Rachel Bryce, and it was amazing. And then after that, they asked me to join their troupe. And I was like, I like 10 weeks of dance. I'm like, I'm a fucking dancer. So I ended up joining their troupe. And it was just like, it was crazy. Like after I started dancing, like I started dancing in the January, it was like my first 10-week term. By that May, I had moved out. I had moved in with my now husband, who was my roommate at the time, halfway across the country, halfway across Dublin, like completely different, changed jobs, had completely changed my life. And belly dance, I will always credit that belly dance was the reason for that. Belly dance was the reason I got out of that, because to be honest with you, I'll be completely honest with you, I would not be alive if I'd stayed in that position. I would have absolutely, like, I'm sorry for I'll trigger warn this, but I would absolutely have killed myself. I was in a really horrendous place, and suffering really, really badly with it. And when I saw that, it changed my life, like as it does for a lot of people. And it's when I start doing it, I was like, if I can, like after that, I kind of dedicated everything I did to belly dance, because I needed to learn, I needed to meet Rachel, I needed to do all that, because it meant so much how much it got. Not just that the dance was like, I'm incredible and I love doing it and I feel great, but I was like, this has got me out of something that would have destroyed me. And I was like, if you could ever give someone that opportunity, like I was like, and I'm pretty sure Rachel hears this from everyone all the time, like how amazing she is, what she's did for people, and all that kind of stuff. But I'm like, what she's actually done for me, and it's probably just a lot of things. Like, you've literally pulled me back from the edge. And I went through and did like all of the 8 elements. I got my teacher training certifications. Like, if I can give anyone that little bit of an inkling of like, it's you, like you can get out of the shit that you're in, you can do so much more. And just fucking, yeah, I don't know how to describe it. Like, it's just, that for me was like the meaning of my life, is that I can get someone to believe in themselves, or to walk away from something and to feel strong. I'll have done more than I'll ever do in my life, no matter like in my work life or in my career or anything like that. If I can do that for one person, I have fucking done my job. Like, and I can die happy and be like, yeah, I did that. I helped that one person. I'm happy out. So it was yeah, that was my kind of intro to belly dance. And then I stayed with the Orchids for about 1.5 years. And then I kind of gave up belly dance for a couple of months. I had a rough exit from that troupe. So I just kind of turned my back on dance, and then felt that same kind of like horrible kind of pit. I was stuck for a while. I didn't feel like me. I didn't feel like what I had been dancing to was who I was. And one of my friends, Oren, who's this like an awesome music producer, we got together and we were like, well, let's do a show together. You like putting on stuff, all crazy performers and weirdos. And I was like, yeah, thanks. Megan's a total weirdo, so it's all good. So we put a show together called the Family Value Show. And the Family Value Show was literally all fruitcakes from Ireland, like any weirdo performers do we know. And we do know tons of weirdo performers, and they're fucking amazing. They're like my favorite people. So we put this big, crazy, elaborate alternative show together. And that was the first time I was going to dance in like 9 months after giving it all up. It was really like, so I was like, okay, I'm going to dance to this particular song I wanted to dance to, and I hadn't danced to it before. And I had got one of my old troupe costumes and pulled it apart and made this like heavy metal version of a costume that I wanted, because that's who I am. And I was like, I need to represent me and not feel bad about it. This is who I am, and I don't feel comfortable being in this other thing, so I need to do this. So I pulled everything together, I put the song on, and I get up and danced. I just remember just the music starting and just going, and just losing. I nearly shouted on stage because I was so like, and then it was the whole kind of feeling, because I'd given up dance for such a long time. Like, I had forgotten, not that I forgot, but what was making me feel super sad, because it was I had to walk away from dance, but then I had to remember that why it was so important to me, and what it did for me, and what it got me out of. And then that moment where I was back on stage and how, like, putting the costume back on and putting music on, it was like, this is why you're doing it. This is it. Like, this moment, have this,
Mhm.
like, have this. And I remember just just lost it on stage, pulling out, busting out moves I had no right to do, no right. Everything with, like, like bending in the lumbar spine. I was like, oh, I'm gonna feel this tomorrow. But I was so, like, just like, I think built up of frustration and everything. I was like, fuck, I want to do this. And then afterwards, Mr. Ross came up to me and said, I've never seen you. I've never seen you on stage. And that to me was really important, because he's like, I have never seen you on stage. And I was like, what do you mean you've seen me on stage every time? It's like, no, but that was you. That was you and yourself dancing to music that only you know how to do. And that is absolutely you being you on stage. And it was, from then on, I was like, oh, I don't need to answer to people about being who I am or what I am. I like, I'm a different person than you, than anyone else, and has different experiences. And that's what I need to bring to the stage,
Mhm.
not to try and emulate like what Rachel would have done, or what the Indigo would have done. For me, is like, I need to allow myself to be uncomfortable in who I am and in the scars that I carry, and show that, and be that on stage, and be that person, and be just unapologetically me, you know,
Yeah.
and that's what started to. It now took a while. Still, like, it took fucking years. I'm still to this day, kind of questioning, should I be doing this? It took a while to get that. So over the last 7 years, especially, I started to teach more, and I created belly dance courses, and I got some of them accredited, which was really nice. So myself and my husband teach on them. So they're like different length courses over different periods of time. And one of the main thing that we teach is that I'm going to give you the technique, and I'm going to teach you everything I know, because like things that people never told me, like how to pack a gig case, how to act around producers, what to do, how to burn music, how to protect your lighting, all stuff that people never told me, but I had to learn really fast. And then the major thing is that I'm going to give you all this technique, I'm going to give you all this kind of, business side of it, and all the other side of it. But what I do not want, and I will be so fucking pissed off, is if I see you copy me on stage. If I go out there and I see 10 versions of me dancing because you've done my course, I haven't done my goddamn job. My job is to pull everything that you have, and make you be the best version of you on that stage. And that is literally what I fucking pride myself on doing for people. Like, belly dance is amazing, and I love belly dance, but this could have been Majorettes, and this could have been Irish dancing if it was at different times of my life. I think it
Right.
would, something was needed to pull me out of there, and belly dance was what was there. But to be able to do that, and to be able to give people that kind of thing, going, right, be you on stage, here's everything you need, but I want to see you be you. Because I remember it took me too long to realize who I was, and to realize that what I needed to be on stage was me. And it took me way too long to fucking do that. And I want to make sure that people have that, and never have to go through what I go through to get to the stage where we're understanding that people want to see me, and not want to see me
Right.
be.
Yeah, we kind of spoke about that really, I mean, the toxic troupe scenario that happens that I went through too. I mean, we all started with the emulation of the idols, right? So we see that person, we're like, holy fuck, like, what is that? Let
Yeah.
me be that. OMG. Yeah, for me, it was Rachel, but I also really loved Sashi because I was like goth girl and I was like, oh, fuck, like Sashi's hot. And yeah, and Zoe and Cami, and all those girls. And I was just like, oh my God. And I just so remember that era of like Serpent Rouge. Um, it was like the garter pants and like almost stuff. And yeah, you kind of have to learn. Like you put on the costume and then you realize you're like, oh, I can't be person A, B, C, D. Shit, I got to be myself. And when your troupe is kind of based on emulating these people, I mean, eventually like, it's oil and it's water, and you're going to have to give. And I think it's really powerful that you took a costume from that troupe repertoire and tore it apart. I mean, it's symbolic, you know, it's symbolic of you breaking out of it. And I think you're so hard on yourself, Stacey. You know, we learn the thing when we're ready to learn the thing. We
Yeah.
bust out of that shit when it no longer serves us.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, do you know, when you just kind of look back in your life, and again, it's always hindsight. Like, you'd love to have been done things differently, or, you know, not said that really shitty thing, or, you know, it's just, I would love for dancers to not to have to go. And I was talking about this with yourself. When I was in Montreal, I was teaching with my gorgeous troupe mates in Dubrikato, Violet and Charlotte, and I was talking about performance, and I was talking about being in a troupe situation and setting the groundwork for being in a troupe. And again, based on what I had been through before in troupes, and what I was in now in terms of the collective with Dubrikato, it was like obviously very, very different. But I talked about, you know, if you're infighting in a troupe, if you're, you know, anyone is bitching, this is where you can't dance together, because you bring that to the stage, and it's not good. And what really upset me and really shocked me was how many other people had been in that situation as well. How many other dancers had come to me afterwards and gone, I've been in a similar situation, or I'm going through this right now. And I was like, it got me, it genuinely got me really upset, because I was like, guys, and I think Marty Love had said this before, it's just belly dance. It's just dance. Why is there this horrible in like fighting and like this horrible conversation, when all like belly dance is I always find it's a very feminine art form, you know, but it's there for everyone. But I find it very feminine in terms of very motherly and very loving and very much nurturing. And I love that side of it, because that very nurturing side of it is what helps people become who they are in their dance. And I always found that with belly dance. And then to see other people having that same situation and having that same problem and that same kind of fight with other people, I was like, I thought this was an isolated incident. Why is this not an isolated incident? Why is this happening? Why are we fighting? Why is this going on? And obviously there's many reasons, like there's tons of reasons. People, you know, can not gel, or they can not get on with each other, or whatever. The ego is a terrible fucking thing, and we all have that. But it just really frustrated me so much that I went back to my own troupe, Polaris. And the first thing I say to them, I will let anyone and everyone into the troupe, regardless of your level of experience. You're going to bring something. We're all going to dance together. It's going to be great crack. However, if I hear you fucking say another word about anyone else in the troupe, this ends now. I cannot do another situation like that where people were fighting or bitching about each other behind their back. It's not fucking on, and it's not cool, because we're here to dance. We're here to put on beautiful costumes. We're here to like go out into a show where your family are sitting there watching you, or you're going to dance to fucking kick-ass music. You're going to bust out a move that you've just learned and you fucking nailed it, and you're going to go out and have the best time. And you're going to look to the person on your left and right, and you're going to be like, yes, I get to dance with you. You're so much fun. And that's what you want. You want to come off your stage and go, that was fucking great. You know, that was awesome. We had a fucking great time. You know, we had fun. Like, it's dance. And it was so upsetting to hear a lot like that. A lot of people had a similar experience. And like as we said, we talked about this off, that we've had a similar experience. And it was like, we need to stop. You know, as dancers, if you see that you're doing that, or if you notice that you stop, you don't know what you're doing to another person. You know, a dance may be their only outlet. It may be the only thing that they have. You know, it may be the only thing that they're trying to be themselves. Don't break them.
Yeah.
You know?
It takes so much self-work though, and that's like the fucking thing. And big mood, by the way, on Friday, because the troupe that I was in for almost a decade. Fuck. I had their symbol on my back, and I got that shit fucking covered. So I'm not branded anymore. And it's, of course, a self-branding, but like, yeah,
it's there, and you still see it, and it's
wow,
that's awesome that you got that covered, because now it's like you can start the healing.
you know, and you can start moving on and kind of, you know, growing from the experience and growing from what happened. Like
Yes.
the people that I had, you know, that I had been in a troupe with before are all fucking, they're really awesome people. It's just, we did not gel. And
Yeah.
it was not like, it was one of those situations where you're like, okay, we can't do this. You know, we're all wanting different things, and they're all like fucking cool, like fucking great people and kick-ass dancers. They've just, situation for us was like just explosive, and it just didn't work. But you don't, you know, you learn from that, and you learn to see that. And now as a like a troupe director, or being in a troupe with someone, you know, you see those signals and you see those signs, and if it's you who does it, and I have been guilty of like feeling those kind of things creep in and go, oh no, stop yourself in. And when I started dancing with Dubrikato, we were meeting together before, I think it was a dance craft. We were meeting together to go to dance craft in Milwaukee. And Violet had invited us over to teach at her studio. And we were like, oh, fucking awesome, deadly. Teaching in the States, deadly. And we all went over, and it was the first time I'd met Charlotte, and Charlotte and Violet had met together at 8 Elements, and I met Violet at the second level of 8 Elements. So Charlotte like lives in the UK, and I'm so surprised I didn't know her, because, you know, it's not that far from each other. So we all met together, and we all created a choreography separately and came together, put it all together, rehearsed it, and performed it that night. And it was awesome, and it was super fun, great experience. First time working with people again in a belly dance circle. So then after that, after we'd all gone home and it was like super sad, and they were, you know, we really bonded, then I got a message going, okay, so we're going to put up a page. What are we going to call ourselves? You know, here's the performance. What should we do next year? And I was like, oh, the fear that came over me. I was like, I'm in a troupe again. And I was genuinely like, oh, what am I going to say to these girls? How do I get out of it? What am I going to do? And I explained to the girls, and I like we'd met up again, I think another year later, and we were just having chats. Like, the girls are just fucking incredible. And I was telling them about the fear that I had about joining again. And they were like, and again, Violet had a similar situation. And I was like, okay, you've had a similar situation. Charlotte could totally understand it. But I was like, okay, you get why I'm super anxious about this then.
Yeah.
So we made a pact with each other to always be super honest, or if something was upsetting us, we would say it. Or if you didn't feel comfortable doing a certain thing in a performance, we would always talk about it. And I've been with them now for 5 years. We've toured all over together. We've taught together, and they genuinely are like my sisters. Like, I love them like so freaking much. They really helped come out of, like, really helped me pull me out of that. And
Yeah.
they're super awesome, but it takes time. It takes a lot of time.
It's a relationship, just like anything else. Boundaries and consent and yeah, all the things. And yeah, I mean, for myself, I mean, I just had the nastiest experience with some of the people. And a big part of this tattoo also, I mean, I got this tattoo with these girls. I mean, at that time we were girls. We were in our early 20s. And after they left, I mean, they literally ran a year-long smear campaign on me on Instagram. And it's like, how can I talk to somebody that does that? My literal only defense was to ignore them.
Yeah.
Not pour any gasoline on that fire. So I was like, y'all are gonna be over this shit. Because it was literally just like, y'all don't want to do this, then just leave. And they were like, they wrote this whole letter, and the grammar was awful. I mean, you know, this is like fighting with Trump supporters. It's the same thing. You're just like,
yeah, you're always going to be like, you're always going to be the bad person and everything. And and this thing, it's a relationship of two halves. I'm not saying I was ever fucking saint like at all, but yeah, similar thing. But do you know what? Because I'm terrible at confrontation, and I'm terrible at coming, like, I was dancing with someone else at the time, or I wanted to dance with someone else, and I didn't tell them because I was terrified of what they would say. And then they came and approached me, and they all kind of called me into a meeting, and I was just shitting myself, and I was just like, went on the defensive straight away. I was like, because I was like, I was terrified by it, because again, that same thing, that belly dance was everything to me at that stage. everything, and thoughts that it was going to be taken away from me really fucking, it killed me. And when it did get taken away from me, and like obviously like kind of self-imposed fucking ban from it, I didn't know what to do with myself. I genuinely was like, I can never do this again. I'm after ruining this chance. This is all gone. I am fucking, you know, it destroyed me. Like it really fucking did. Like I just delete my Facebook. Everything was gone. I can't see this, because like every time my memories would come up, it'd be memories of dancing with them and being super fucking like having the best time. And just that was gone then for me. Like people like people who knew belly dance, and especially when you started belly dancing, like, and I'm pretty sure it's the same for you, you become a nerd at it and you're like, who's this person and what's this person do, and tell me about this, and oh, you're around for this, tell me about that. Like I was so into it. I was just, who's this person and what do they do and blah blah blah. And I even like I laugh about it because I'm still like that. Like I love one of my favorite dancers of all time, and I got to like dance with her this year, and she is just someone I genuinely love, is Jelena Carlano from Belly Dance Superstars and Belly
Love
Dance.
her.
Oh, she is, again, same with that Rachel Level, just someone I really adore. But Belly Dance, the American Belly Dancer documentary, I only watched that probably about 2 months ago, and I watch that like every 6 months because I'm like, belly dance, and it's a whole documentary about belly dance. That's, I genuinely, and I love it. I love everything about it. And even when I'm in class and I'm talking about like movements in class or where this movement originated from, I can give you the history of everything, where everything came from, who did it first, where it was on, which tribal fest it was produced at. You know, it's just, I fucking love it. Like I love it. So then to have none of that, and to have every time you looked at it be super painful, was just, it fucking broke me. Like my costumes, anything I made, anything I created, just dumped into a box and left. I was like, can't look at that. It's just painful, fucking painful memories. So then when I did eventually come out of it, then like you can see the ladies behind me here, like I love looking at it. I love everything about it. I love looking at, you know, still a fucking fangirl after 11 years. Like, I don't think I'll ever stop.
I mean, it sounds like, and this is so good, it sounds like you've had to kind of unmake and remake yourself multiple times through this. I mean, the very beginning, it was clear you were at a low bottom. You were literally on the brink of suicide. And then you saw goddess, incarnate, woman, power, sensuality, force, all those things. And it gave you that lust for life back. And then like you kind of shape, right? We kind of shape ourselves in these molds of what we see, and we have to fucking break that. And we have to break it fucking over and over and over again. And then we start to become ourselves. And it reads on stage, it reads through the screen. And that was the thing, circling it back to the video that I saw you put out. I was like, whoa, because I see you online and I see the things, but that performance was something really special. Like you really did things for me on that and really fueled my fire as a mover. So you are doing the thing. I am so appreciative to you and what you're doing. And I would love to hear, we'll kind of close things out this way. New dancers out there, your 5 hottest tips, and to experienced dancers, your 5 hottest tips.
Oh, this is an interesting one.
Since you're making informational videos on
like this is like, and this is my favorite thing. So if we're talking in terms of performance, and like I'll say this every single time, and I'm pretty sure you will, dance to music that you like and that you know inside fucking out. I cannot tell you the amount of times I've been on stage and that music cuts out and I know where the A count is and I'm straight back in when the music comes back on. You need to know your music inside out for the technical aspect of it, of dancing on stage. But you need to love it. You need to feel it. You need to, when you hear that track, you need to just go, oh, and move. Don't stop that. If you put on a piece of music and you can do nothing but just close your eyes and move to it, that is your music. That's your song, regardless if it's belly dance or not. And I have this really like fraught thing with belly dance where like, is it traditional? And again, being like a super belly dance nerd, I'm like, but is it actually belly dance? Should I be belly dancing to this? That's a whole other conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But if I find a piece of music that I'm like, this is my heart and soul right now. This is what I do. That's your music. That's what you should dance to. Absolutely, bar anything else. Have a costume that fits your music and fits you and your own style, and fits you not necessarily as in the fit, because you'll look amazing in whatever you dance in, but don't think that you need to look like a Rachel or a Zoe or any of us, because that's not what we want to see. We want to see you. If you like a certain fabric, make a costume out of it. If you have like freaking door handles that you want to make earring out of, do it. Do whatever you want to do, because it will.
Handles.
Door handles. I'll show you some.
I didn't know about door handle earrings.
Yeah, it'll read who you are, and that's what you want. Like, and again, there's so many amazing costumes and so many amazing things, but if you can even put something together like yourself, you've made it. It's you. And even if it's gluing shit on a bra, which we all do, and like most of that whole costume behind me is glue gun. That's all glue gun, because I like hate sewing. If you want to like, make something for you that you're like, you put your bits on, have things that you know they're like, you're for you, a button for you or something that's for you. And when you dance, you know, and you'll wear it with pride, and it'll be outward as well. Always know your audience of where you're going to dance, and always have a piece and act tailored for that audience. And that may sound like pandering to your audience, but the last thing you want to do is a super introverted piece and you're at a burlesque audience who want to see titties and shaking and, you know, da, 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 da. Be mindful and always check in with where you're going to dance. It's hugely important, hugely important. Always do your tech, always be nice to people. Be nice, it shouldn't be on the list, but it should always be nice to people. They're all your bookers.
Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick. Jesus. That is like the main thing. Don't be a fucking dick. Stay out of backstage politics. And no matter what happens, don't be afraid to be vulnerable on stage. Don't be afraid to cry on stage. If you're moved to tears, if you have to let go of your choreography or let go of your piece and have a moment on stage. People are there to see you. They want to see you. They want to see what you're bringing, not what you're emulating. That's the most important thing. I've seen the most technically proficient dancers in the world who are spectacular, but who don't give me emotion. When I watch a dancer who's new, who loves it, who can maybe do a deadly hip circle or maybe a chest lift, but they are giving me everything and they are putting everything out there, that is what I want to see all the time. I want to see you, and I want to see you be you on stage, regardless of what you think you should be. You should be you and nothing else. That's kind of the major one. Takeaway.
I love that. And I want to describe everything as deadly now. Thank you.
Deadly. Sorry. Like, yeah, sorry, you're gonna have that in your head. Like, everything is deadly or massive or whopper crack. Like, so yeah, and crack in the obviously the Irish way, the CRAIC. But yeah, deadly crackle. I hope that gets into your vocabulary now, and I hear you on the next podcast, and you'll be saying like, yeah, that's deadly. I'll be like, yes, you did there. I made my mark.
So how can people find you online, Stacey? How can they study? How can they follow? How can they love up on you?
Oh, awesome. I have a website. It's staceymcpartlin.com. I also have Instagram, which is Stacey Bellydance. And on Facebook, I'm Stacey McPartlin. So you can search me and find me there. I teach classes all the time online, so you can join the community and hop on in for an L dance. And hopefully I'll be back on tour next year. So I'll be in the US and in Canada again. So hopefully I'll see you guys on the road at some point, which would be nice.
So exciting. And I'm going to jump into class.
Yay!
You're teaching so bad. So I will definitely be on there, and I'll have everything linked. I would love to link your performance that you just did, since I just have been blah, 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 about it. So we'll have all of that underneath. And oh my God, just thank you so much for your time, Stacey. I love you. I adore you. And I can't wait to watch what you do in the future.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate this opportunity. It's so sweet to connect with you. And again, super fan. I know I said this to you before, big fan for a very long time. So thank you so much. And yeah, best of luck and big love to you.
Big love to you too. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.